It's Keisha. Welcome and welcome back. We are on our next reading in the book Ask and It Is Given. And well, let us begin where we begin, right? So just close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. And let it out. Another deep breath in. And out. Just feel yourself becoming more and more settled in your space, getting comfortable in your seat. And now all of your cares, your concerns, your worries, just gather them up on your next breath and send them into a balloon just above our heads. Feel yourself made lighter by releasing of those cares. And on the next breath, just gently send the balloon away, trusting that it's being handled by the universe. And now on your next inhale, gently and lovingly, recall all of your power back to yourself. Recall all of your wisdom. Feel yourself more whole and more present. And now see a column of white light coming down over you. Feel that white light all around, cool and gentle to the touch. Warm and inviting. Feel that light all around you. And as you continue to breathe while in this column, see yourself being filled with that light. See the light quickening the cells of the body, filling the spaces between the cells. Notice how you are becoming one with the light, indistinguishable. The earth plane from the celestial plane. Remembering your true essence, you are light. And now see that essence and totality of you rising up gently in that column, rising up higher and higher, lifting up out of the denseness of our earthly plane, rising up higher and higher, till we come to a familiar place of peace, of love, of oneness. Finding your space in the grove of knowledge. Feeling your heart open and your mind open, ready to receive. When you're ready, gently open your eyes. We have to remember this is always available to us. So, coming back to Ask and It Is Given, chapter 21. With only a few seconds of focusing your attention on a subject, you activate the vibration of that subject within you. And immediately the law of attraction begins to respond to that activation. The longer you keep your attention focused on something, the easier it becomes for you to continue to focus upon it, because you are attracting, through the law of attraction, other thoughts or vibrations that are the essence of the thought you began with. So have you ever been meditating and you get one random thought, and before you know it, you've given minutes of deep you're a few minutes deep into catching feelings about something that you didn't even want to happen. It's kind of the same thing. So ideally, we'd let ourselves get carried away with positive thoughts of what we'd like to see happen rather than getting carried away by the nonsense of what we don't want. So as you begin to hold a thought, the more what you focus on expands, right? And so if you were holding a positive thought, then the law of attraction could begin to work because you are issuing out a vibration that is then attracting other positive thoughts along to it. Within 17 seconds of focusing on something, a matching vibration becomes activated. And now, as that focus becomes stronger and the vibration becomes clearer, the law of attraction will bring to you more thoughts that match. At this point, the vibration will not have much attraction power, but if you maintain your focus longer, the power of the vibration will become further reaching. And if you manage to stay purely focused upon any thought for as little as 68 seconds, the vibration is powerful enough that its manifestation begins. 17 seconds, 34 seconds, 51 seconds, 68 seconds. A minute and change, right? Focus on positive thoughts. When you repeatedly return to a pure thought, maintaining it for at least 68 seconds, in a short period of time, hours in some cases, or days in others, that thought becomes a dominant thought. And once you achieve a dominant thought, you will experience matching manifestations until you change it. So you need to remember that the thoughts that you think equal your point of attraction. You get what you think about, whether you want it or not, so be careful what you think about. Your thoughts equal vibration, and that vibration is then answered by the law of attraction. As your vibration expands and becomes more powerful, it eventually becomes powerful enough for manifestation to occur. And lastly, what you think and therefore feel and what manifests in your experience is always a vibrational match. So if you're not liking what you're seeing, the question becomes, what am I thinking that draws this to me? How can I change that thought to be more in line with what I'd like to experience? Once the law of attraction is understood and accepted, many people become initially uncomfortable with their own thoughts. Once they understand that the power of the law of attraction, once they understand the power of the law of attraction and they begin to examine the content of their own mind, they sometimes worry about the potential that they may now be attracting through their uncontrolled thoughts. But there is no reason to worry about your thoughts, for they are not like a loaded gun which may wreak havoc and instantaneous destruction. For although the law of attraction is powerful, the basis of your experience is that of well-being. And even though your thoughts are magnetic and expand with your attention, you have plenty of time. As soon as you become aware of any negative feelings, to begin to choose less resistant thoughts and thereby choose a more desired outcome. Remember, you can allow it or resist it in varying degrees, but the stream of well-being always flows. So, even a small effort made towards choosing a better feeling thought will net you obvious results. And once you've taken that step and you do find that better feeling thought, you've given yourself the conscious freedom to go from wherever you are on any topic to anywhere you want to be. Once you deliberately choose a thought and consciously feel the improvement in the way that you feel, you have successfully utilized your own guidance system, and you can now be on your way to the freedom that you desire and deserve. There is nothing you cannot be, do, or have. Okay. Again, no need to fear negative thoughts. Time is a buffer. So once you recognize your negative thoughts, begin to redirect your focus in a more positive direction. And then hold that positive direction for at least 68 seconds. Easily done, right? You may say that different emotions have different vibrational frequencies, but a more accurate way of saying it would be, your emotions are indicators of your vibrational frequency. When you remember that your emotions indicate your degree of alignment with source energy, and that the better you feel, the more you are allowing your alignment with the things you desire, then it is easier to understand how to respond to your emotions. Absolute alignment with your own source energy means that you know the following. You are free, you are powerful, you are good, you are love, you have value, you have purpose, and all is well. At any time that you are thinking thoughts that cause you to know your true nature, you are in alignment with who you really are. For this is the state of absolute alignment. And the way those thoughts feel is the ultimate emotion of connection. When you think in terms of a fuel gauge on a vehicle, the state of alignment would be the same as a full tank. In other words, imagine a gauge or scale with gradations or degrees, which indicate the position of the fullness, allowance, of your connection with your source energy, all the way to your emptiest, your most resistant or disallowance of your alignment with source energy. A scale of your emotions would look something like this. At its fullest, you would be experiencing joy, knowledge, empowerment, freedom, love, appreciation. Right? That's 1. 2 would be passion. 3, coming down the scale, enthusiasm, eagerness, happiness. 4, positive expectations, belief. 5, optimism. 6, hopefulness. 7, contentment. And here's where we begin to change. 8, boredom. Notice the change, the switch between contentment and boredom. 9, pessimism. 10, frustration, irritation, impatience. 11, overwhelmment. 12, disappointment. 13, doubt. 14, worry. 15, blame. 16, discouragement. 17, anger. 18, revenge. 19, hatred and rage. 20, jealousy. 21, insecurity, guilt, and unworthiness. And 22, fear, grief, depression, despair, and powerlessness. I had, when I initially read this, I thought about making a little visual to go along with it, and I sketched it out, but the day has gotten away from me, so I've not been able to create it, but I thought I'd share it with you all the same. So at the bottom was my handily drawn figure crunched over in helplessness and despair, moving up the ladder all the way to joyous excitement at the top, right? And the note that I have here, you want to consciously strive for the next best feeling. That's your way to move up the scale. Whatever you call it isn't important, right? The names that we use to call the different emotions isn't as important as the feeling that's associated with them. So if you can reach for the better feeling, that's what's important, not so much what you call it. Those names and labels just kind of help identify. So something that's happened in your experience that makes you feel terrible. So something has happened in your experience. That makes you feel terrible. Nothing sounds good. Nothing feels good. It seems as if you're suffocating, and each thought is equally painful. The best word that most nearly describes that particular state of being or that state of emotion is depression. So if you could throw yourself into some action, any action, as long as it's not in the direction of harm, naturally, you might begin to feel better. So you set your intention to find a thought that feels better. Become consciously aware of how that thought feels. In that case, you are now moving consciously up the emotional guidance system, right? And that can happen fairly quickly. It's really a process of thinking a thought, any thought, and then consciously evaluating whether the new thought gives you any feeling of relief from where you were before that thought. Now, there is a crucial step in effectively utilizing your emotional guidance system. You'd have to stop and consciously acknowledge that your chosen thought of anger does in fact feel better than the feeling of suffocating depression. And in the conscious recognition of your improved vibration, your feeling of powerlessness softens, and you're now on your way up the emotional guidance scale, back towards the full connection of who you are. I find that to be a particularly powerful technique, just to be aware that what you're experiencing an emotion, any emotion, other than the lower state you had previously been in, is already movement. And so if you can see, okay, that's movement, that's positive. And to recognize that that's where you get the power to continue to shift your emotions higher and higher and higher. Often from a very resistant vibration, such as depression or fear, you will have already instinctively, even unconsciously, discovered the pain-relieving thought of anger. But there are so many who have convinced you that anger is inappropriate. And of course, they're not inside you, and so they can't feel the empowerment that anger really is for you in that moment. And they often counsel you then against your anger, only to lead you back to your former state of depression. But when you consciously know that you have chosen an angry thought and that it has brought you relief, then you can consciously know that you can move from an angry thought to a less resistant one, such as frustration. And then up the emotional scale you would go, back to joy, which is your full alignment. So when people are telling you that anger is inappropriate, they're oftentimes trying to get you to immediately move off of that feeling and into forgiveness and compassion. But I say no, because one, you need to feel your feelings as you're expressing them. Feeling your feelings to their fullest degree in the moment that you are feeling them is one of the best ways to make sure that situation and that negative emotion isn't being stuck within you. Most notably, I counsel this when someone is experiencing feelings of grief. And in those situations, my response is always, 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 no matter where you are, what you're doing, who is around, or what's going on, if you need to cry, cry. You need to feel your emotions. You need to feel them as they've come up and they're happening. And the reason that's so important is because the tendency is to say, oh no, I'm in the line at the grocery store. People will think something of me. They'll think I'm crazy. They'll think. Who gives a fuck what people think? They're your emotions. It's your grief. It's your moment. It's happening to you. It's coming through you. And so you need to feel it right then so that it doesn't get stuck, pushed down, only to be revealed as some other boil that comes up later, if it comes up at all. Keeping in mind that these things that get pressed down and not dealt with in the moment that they're coming up for healing and resolution, the more they get pressed down, the more compacted they become. And those become the blocks to your happiness, the blocks to whatever forward motion you're trying to create. So the way we keep that from happening is to feel our emotions fully when they are happening. Once you've done that, then you're in a position to move back into a state of grace and process what is happening, moving beyond the anger, moving beyond the grief. Going back to the text now. When you are consciously aware of where you are, you also know where you'd like to be. You then have the means of understanding whether or not you are pointed in the right direction. So again, if you know where you are and you know where you'd like to be, so if anger is pointing you this way negatively down, but you know you want to be over here, but you're aware of your anger pointing negatively and down, then you can take a moment to breathe and ask yourself, what would turn me around? What would move me in the positive direction? There are many words that are used to describe emotions, but there are really only two emotions. One that feels good and one that feels bad. And every incremental place along the emotional scale only indicates degrees of the allowance of the powerful, pure, positive source energy. The fullest state of connection, which feels like joy, love, appreciation, freedom, or knowledge. And then the fullest state of disconnection, which will feel like despair, grief, fear, and depression, which is really speaking to your feeling of disempowerment. Likely, and this is me adding here, likely because you've given your power away to something outside of yourself. When we're in a state of fear, we have given our power away to a scenario that has not happened, but that we are afraid might. rather than recognizing our own power and agency to ask for guidance and take active steps that are immediately in front of us and available to redirect the course of the situation. Okay. There is tremendous value when you are able to deliberately cause even the slightest improvement in the way that you feel. For even a small emotional improvement, there you have regained a measure of control. And even though you may not have fully exercised your control to bring yourself entirely back to the full connection with your full power, at least you no longer feel powerless. And so that's how you move back up the emotional scale, and how it's not only possible, but relatively easy. So right now, what you would want to tell yourself is, I'm going to find the best feeling thought that I can. I'm going to reach for more relief, more relief, more relief. And so what you would remember is that rage gives you a feeling of relief from depression, grief, despair, guilt, and powerlessness, right? Because if you're in guilt, fear, despair, powerlessness, you don't feel like you have any agency, you can't do anything. You're waiting for these horrible things to happen. But if you've generated some rage, that is you taking your power back, and it's starting to express itself. It's still negative, but you've taken your power back, and it's starting to move forward or move in a different direction. Revenge gives you a feeling of relief from rage, because rage is kind of all over the place, but revenge is more targeted. Anger is relief from a feeling of revenge. Okay, so if I'm in a state of revenge, I'm trying to cause harm to another person, but if I can back off enough that I'm just anger, and that anger is within me, not at me necessarily, but within me and not directing out at another person, that's already a lessening of the emotion, right? Blame will give relief from anger. That's when we've moved off the position of anger, and now we're looking for the reasons why, and we're blaming generally anything besides taking the responsibility for it. So blame, though not technically good, is already better than anger. Overwhelm gives relief from blame, right? Irritation is relief from overwhelm, right? So if we're overwhelmed by something and overcome by it, that's a much harder position than simply being irritated. Irritation, I can shrug off, right? Overwhelmed, that's going to take some effort. So you can already see the movement there. Pessimism provides relief from irritation. Well, now, irritation is more like, I just don't like that, and I don't feel good about it, and I don't feel good about what's happening. But there's already less attachment. And here is where the crux is, again, because hopefulness is the next step of relief from pessimism. And once you've attained hopefulness, then the next feeling of relief that overcomes hopefulness is that of optimism. Look, the outlook that, hey, things aren't as bad as I think, and hey, things might get better. Things will get better. Things are getting better. Things are better, right? And that things are getting better is positive expectation, which is what overcomes and provides relief from optimism. And once we're in a state of positive expectation, then it's only one more step to joy, which overcomes them all, right? So in time, with practice, you become very adept at understanding what your emotions are telling you. We climb the mountain when we're crafting and saying our affirmations, right? Sorry, let me step back a second. This is, when we're talking about moving from an incremental step and moving up the guidance scale. When manifesting, we experience a quantum shift when we go from saying our affirmations to the gratitude that they're already done, right? Because when you're saying your affirmations, I will get better is usually where we start. I am getting better, I am better. Those are all the process of becoming. But once we're at that state of I am better, and it's like beyond that, I am so grateful I am better. I am in supreme gratitude for it. That's when the manifestation kicks into high gear, because it's already a given. You're not in the process of becoming there. You're grateful it's already done. You're seeing it as a completed act, and you're enjoying the feeling of what that completion is allowing for you. So we climb the mountain when we're crafting and saying our affirmations. We rejoice at the peak when we're in gratitude that it's done, even before it's happened, right? I have found one of the most powerful manifestation techniques that I've practiced in recent times is that of saying thank you. Thank you that it's done. Thank you so much that it's already done. And feeling what it feels like when the thing is done. Because when you're offering up that vibration, you can only be in joy in the accomplishment, and the knowledge of the accomplishment, and the appreciation of it. And all of those things are at the top of your emotional guidance system. Attention to how you are feeling is necessary in order to understand everything that is happening to you. How you feel, and the feeling of relief that you discover as you reach for better feeling thoughts, is your only true measurement of what you are attracting into your experience. So when you're tempted to ask, where is it? Where is it? Why isn't it here yet? If you're noticing that it's not here yet and you're kind of bummed about it and you're in that state of anxiousness, not anticipation, but anxiety about it coming, then you know that it's not close, right? Because anxiety is too far down the scale for something that you want to manifest to be, for you to recognize that you're in alignment with it. If you are in excited anticipation, however, when's it going to get here? I can't wait till it gets here. Then you know that you're already closer. And you can't fake the feeling, because you are where you are and you feel what you feel. But if you can be aware of what you're feeling, then that's going to be your information as to when it's coming. Which is why you don't need readings as to when am I going to find the next relationship? When am I going to be in a relationship? When is my money coming to me? I call those the late and the paid. I read tarot and oracle cards as well. And quick story. I used to work at psychic fairs and different metaphysical events, and I would do them at a different place each weekend. So over the course of the month, I probably would have done 3 weekends, if not 4. And invariably, I would see the same 2 or 3 people. They would hit all the fairs every weekend, always asking the same damn question. When is it coming? When is it coming? When is it coming? And it can't come when you're looking for it like that. They say a watch pot never boils. This is no different. You don't need a reading from someone else to tell you when it's coming, because your emotions, if you would sit with them and begin to understand them and question them, interact with them, would give you that information. There are other things for which readings are valuable, but asking for the timeline as to when this thing that you want is going to happen, I always feel like is an ineffective use of a reader's talents and a waste of your money. I mean, spend your money however you like, sure, but a better question would be not when is it coming, but what can I do now to be in alignment for it? What can I, what within me is keeping this from me? What within me can I do to strengthen myself to be in greater alignment? This is also one of the reasons why when I read tarot for people, I prefer that they sit down and not tell me their issues and not ask me to read in a particular direction. So when I sit down to read for someone, that they want a reading, either that they've told me or texted me, or they sat down in front of me, that's all I need to know. The rest is going to come from spirit, right? It's just me being open to receive the information and I'm relaying it. And by the person asking for or asking about a specific question, that might not be what Spirit needs to tell them in order for them to be in the most advantageous position to receive the blessing that they're looking to receive, or to overcome a challenge that they're experiencing. But I digress just a bit. Here we are. We would describe the sensation of desire. So the section we're on is, but what about those who desire not to desire? We would describe the sensation of desire as the delicious awareness of new possibilities. Desire is a fresh, free feeling of anticipating wonderful expansion. The feeling of desire is truly the feeling of life flowing through you. But many people, while they're using the word desire, feel something quite different. Desire for them often feels like yearning, because while they're focused upon something that they want to experience or have, they're equally aware of its absence. And so while they're using words of desire, they're issuing the vibration of lack. They come to think that the feeling of desire is like wanting something that they do not have, but there is no feeling of lack in pure desire. Pure desire is going to feel like, not only is this something I would enjoy experiencing, but I have the possibility of getting to it, right? That's the pure desire. But if you're wanting something that is not yet materialized and you want it so badly, that's a deep yearning, and that's a different thing altogether. So if you will keep in mind that whatever you ask, it is already given. This is why we give gratitude for it already being complete, right? Then each of your desires will now be pure, non-resisted desire. Many people desire things that they are not currently living fully, and in some cases they have desired them for a long period of time. And so they think about the thing they desire, and then they think about not having it. In time, they come to believe that the way they feel is the way that their desire feels. But they are not in a state of pure desire. They're in a state of resisted desire. Often the vibration is more about the absence or the lack of what they want than it is about what they do want. Even without realizing that what they are doing, they are holding themselves vibrationally apart from their own desires. So in time, they come to believe that this sluggish, unfulfilled feeling of not getting what they want is really what desire feels like. There have been some who have said to us, but Abraham, I've been taught that it's not appropriate for me to have any desires. I've been taught that the state of desire will keep me from being the spiritual being I'm supposed to be, and that my state of happiness depends on my ability to release all desires. And we reply, but it is not your state of spirituality a desire? We are not here to guide you toward or away from any desire. It is our work to help you understand that you are the creator of your own experience and that your desires will naturally be born of your experience in this environment, in this body. It is our desire to assist you in coming into perfect alignment with Source so that you can then achieve the creation of your desires. We understand why some would suggest that if you would release your desire, you would feel better, because the negative emotion that you are feeling is due to the vibrational difference between your current vibration and the vibration of your desire. But releasing desire is the hard way to go about bringing yourself into alignment, because the entire universe is poised to help give birth to yet another new desire. So a much better way to come into alignment with your source, and therefore to feel better, is to work on releasing your resistance. When your desire feels so big that it feels unreachable, it is not on the verge of manifestation. When your desire feels to you like it is the next logical step, then it is on the verge of manifestation. You will enjoy your exposure to a variety and contrast that helps you identify your desire. You will enjoy the sensation of your conscious awareness when you are not a vibrational match to your own desire, and you will enjoy the sensation of deliberately bringing yourself back into vibrational alignment with your desire. You will feel relief as doubts slip away, and as the secure feelings of well-being replace them. You will enjoy sensing things that are about to happen. You will enjoy seeing things beginning to fall into place, and you will adore witnessing the manifestations of your desire. You will revel in the conscious awareness that you have deliberately molded your desires into being in as real a way as if you had created a statue out of clay in your very own hands. I did that shit. When you got that feeling, you know you're close. You will adore the sensations you feel as you align again and again and again with the fruits of your own experience. The entire universe exists to produce new life-giving desire within you. And when you go with the flow of your own desires, you will feel truly alive and you will truly live. I promise you this is true, and I promise you this is real. If only because I am living it, and that is the truth of my being today and always. Ha! Next section we will read, I think will be a little bit shorter, and then we'll get into the processes. I have to say the timing of all of these things are under divine order. If you watched my video earlier this week or last week on the new moon in Taurus, that is actually today, May 8th. So we are continuing to refine our understanding of the stream of well-being and how to be in alignment with it, how to use our emotional guidance system to put us in a position to understand where we are in the process of manifestation. We have one more short section on exposition before we get into the actual processes. And I'm particularly excited about that because this new moon in Taurus that we're experiencing is all, focused on, relationships and finances. And these processes that we're going to be doing over the next few months, we're going to see, I expect, evidence of in our lives. So I'm particularly excited about it. I can't wait to come back with our next reading. Hopefully that's in just a couple of days. And we'll just be rocking and rolling. So there we are. You all take care. I will see you soon, and I will love you in the meantime. Bye.